the temptation of Jesus, okay? And this is for me, this is about the foundation. The Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness, and he was in the wilderness 40 days, being tempted by Satan. And he was with the wild animals, and the angels were ministering to him. This is the thing about Jesus and the enemy and how it connects with us, is that the enemy knew the power, the potential that Jesus had to change the world. And so the enemy came after him and did everything within the enemy's power, within Satan's power, to distract him and to tempt him. But the thing is Jesus had a foundation, and that was God. It was nothing else. The enemy offered him to rule over the entire world, all the kingdoms of the world, right? The lust, the power, the money. But Jesus had a foundation on God. And that's what we have to go through in our lives all the time. The more of an impact that you have on this world, the more the enemy's going to come after you and tempt you. But we have to put our foundation on God. If our foundation is something like money, which is a lot of us, that's our foundation, right? That's what motivates us, that's what drives us. The enemy's going to come in and take you like that, right? It's going to offer you up some money. It's going to distract you so that you go off your path that you're destined to be on. God put a path for you, and that path has to have Jesus as your foundation. If your foundation is what other people think about you, like vanity, right? You're always worried about what people think about you. Oh, the enemy's going to grab you up like that, right? Because if you're concerned, in order to follow the path of Jesus, you're going to have to get made fun of. You're going to have to be ridiculed. You're going to have to look like an idiot several times as you go along the way. But if your foundation is on that, on Jesus, right, for what is right, for what is good, then it doesn't matter how many people make fun of you. For those of you who've been with me in Patriot Prayer, the street preachers understand this even more so, okay? But you have to be willing to be made fun of and slandered. You have to be willing to allow the world to come after you and attack you with everything that it's got in order to continue to stand, right? That's the only way that I believe that we can continue to go on and really take this country back and really have a true impact on this country. Because if we're worried about all the stupid, petty stuff, can you imagine if Jesus was like, oh man, that would be cool, you know, I can be a king, I can have all the gold, I can have all the money, but that's not what he cared about. He came to change the world. Jesus came to serve, not to be served. So the next one, Jesus calls on the first disciples. This is really important, okay? Passing alongside the Sea of Galilee, he and Simon and Andrew, the brothers of Simon, casting a net into the sea, for there were fishermen. And Jesus said to him, follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men. And immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on a little further, he saw James and John and his brother, who were in their boat mending the nets. And immediately he called them, and they left their father in the boat with their hired servants and followed him. See, that's the thing. This is our biggest problem. What did they do? Jesus called them. What did they do? They dropped everything. They literally just dropped their nets and just went and followed. That's when Jesus became their foundation. Before that, their foundation was whatever it may be. You know, they were young, I don't make assumptions, but it was making money, it was working, it was a family business. And the second that Jesus called on them, they dropped it, and that became their path. That became their life, and that became their foundation. And because of that first step that they took, imagine this, that first step that they took, they dropped that and they went, they changed the entire world. Like, we're still talking about them. We're still reading about them. They were revolutionaries. They had no idea what was in store for them. They wouldn't have been able to handle the truth if they knew what they were really going to do. But all they had to do was take that first step. And that's the thing about that I've learned in the last few years. And I have a million more steps to take. But I realize I just have to take one step of faith at a time. You just take that one step, and then things are going to happen around you. Things are going to change. Okay, you get used to it, then you take that next step. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to drop everything that distracts us. We've got to stop worrying about what we want. What they wanted to do is they wanted to catch as many fish as they could. What Jesus wanted is he wanted them to catch men. Go fishing after men. And so that's what I believe, that's like the first step, is really building that foundation and building it in God. Okay? Does anyone have anything to say on that? Okay? We're going to march down here a little bit, and then I'm going to get up on there and say a couple things on Mark. Okay? If you guys have anything to say, feel free. Amen. That was great.
Huh?
That was great.
Yeah. Okay. And right, this is after Jesus had been preaching, okay, and people are blown away. They never heard this message before. It was a message of authority, even though Jesus was supposed to be a man with no authority compared to the scribes. And after causing quite a bit of a ruckus, one morning, and rising very early in the morning while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. And Simon and those who were with him searched for him, and they found him and said to him, "Everyone is looking for you." And he said to him, "Let us go on to the next towns, that I may preach there also, for that is why I came out." And he went throughout all Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and casting out demons. This is a lot of the things about that really impacts me, and what I believe Patriot Prayer is about. It's about planting seeds, okay? See, Jesus felt like it was time to move on because the entire city was searching for Jesus. That's how much of an impact he had on them and what they were saying. They never heard of him before. They never heard this type of message, but now they're out searching for him. Everybody's looking for him, and that's the key, because if you search for him, you'll find him. And this is one of the things, you know, some people, I bring up Jesus not too much, but I try to do it just enough, and I try to have the symbols, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to plant seeds all over the West Coast. I want people to see the courageous actions that we take, and I want them to know that I give credit to Jesus so that they'll begin to question everything that they used to believe as an atheist. One example that I want to give you guys is I had this girl, who really nice girl, followed me for a while, but she's been a lifelong atheist, like lifelong. And she never even questioned it, not once. She thought it was so stupid that people believe in such an imaginary being, or whatever you want to call it. So one day, she, for some crazy reason, decided to dress up like Antifa because she wanted to film them from within. And we were down in Berkeley. And that was the huge rally. They had thousands of protesters against us, and she was right in the middle there filming everything. And she had no idea what we were going to do. So she saw us march in there. The three of us marched in there with our hands up, took a beating, whatever, it was done and over with. She messaged me later on, and she was like, Joey, because she knows what I believe and she knows what I give credit to, right? She knows that I derive my strength, or I say I derive my strength from Jesus. And she said when she saw that, for the first time in her life, she's questioned everything that she used to believe. Because when she saw three men walk in there with that faith in God, that faith in Jesus, and willing to take that beating, she said it impacted her in a way that she's never been impacted. And that planted a seed in her. And I do believe she started to search out Jesus, and she started to search out the truth. And I think that's the thing, is that why I do what I do with Patriot Prayer is we go around, we make as much noise as we can, but we want to plant seeds. We want to plant seeds so we can really begin to have people question everything that they believe. That's the thing about social media, is that anybody can type anything on the computer, right? But the question is, who's going to walk the talk? Like, who's willing to go out there and to really put themselves in danger and to make those courageous actions because they believe in something bigger than them and more powerful than them. That's one of the things that I believe. You know, you look at our forefathers, I talk about this all the time, and the sacrifices that they made. Because you look at the men who actually were brave enough to sign the Declaration of Independence. That was one of the most selfless acts that one can ever take, because they put themselves in danger, they put their family in danger, and they did that because it's something they believed in, while everybody else, they hid, right? Everybody else, they hid because they didn't want to suffer the consequences, because they didn't have the faith that some of our forefathers had. And so I think it's really important for us to remember that we just got to continue to plant seeds as much as we possibly can, because you never know who it's going to impact. You never know where that seed, where it's going to grow, and how it's going to change that person or the community around you. Hold on. Jesus heals a paralytic. So when he returned, after some days it was reported that he was at home, and many were gathered together, so that there was no more room, not even at the door. And he was preaching the word to them. And they came, bringing him a paralytic carried by 4 men. And when they could not get near him because of the crowd, they removed the roof above him. And when they had an opening, they let down the bed on which the paralytic lay. And when Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, son, your sins are forgiven. This is really important, okay? This is something I don't hear people talk about a lot. Think about this. He says their faith. 4 brothers for this man. This thing people don't think about. 4 brothers for this man had the faith to literally climb up on a roof with a man who's paralyzed, open up part of the roof and lower him down to Jesus. We don't think about the 4 brothers that were there for him because he couldn't do it on his own. That's the thing. We got to support one another. And if you think about it, that's what I believe moved Jesus, is what moved him in his heart, that act of faith, is it was the action. It's not the talk. You can talk all day about how cool would it be if we went up on the roof and we lowered him down. That doesn't mean anything. What it is it's the actual action of these guys going up on a roof. I mean, we don't think about how weird that is. Like, how crazy would that be? I mean, these are way high roofs, but how crazy would it be just even a normal sized roof to try to get a guy who's paralyzed up on a roof, because there's no other way to Jesus, and to lower him down in there. And that act of faith by all 5 of them is what moves Jesus. And I believe that's the thing, is we have to continue to focus on actions. Actions. That's what I'm talking about all day. We have to take actions. We cannot sit at home anymore. Because when we sit at home and we just talk and talk and talk, it's like the social media, right? Type and type and type, and that's all you do. It's not doing a damn thing, because I guarantee you, there's people who hate you, there's people who despise you, there's people who despise this country that are taking action while we sit at home. Do you hear what I'm saying? So we gotta take those actions of faith. Okay? We gotta walk the talk. Stop talking and start acting. Okay? Does anybody have anything to say? Any comments? Yeah. Amen.
We can pray right now to make America a Christian nation again. Lord Jesus, I believe that would be a good action we can all take right now. Lord, turn President Trump to you. Lord, turn America to you. Lord Jesus, we pray that Trump makes a declaration that America is a Christian nation again. countering Obama's declaration to the opposite. Lord Jesus, bring forth